Say hello. Ooh, just said it was trying to reconnect, so I hope it did that. It's going to be a little hard for me to see everything that's going on here on today's live, just because I am on my phone. And I don't know how to work anything on my phone. Ah, there we go. We're adding Andrea.
Oh, there we go.
Wow, that works.
Yay.
So we're having all sorts of tech adventures at the beginning of this. We started up doing these living with intuition lives last week, but it was like it had been a very long time since either one of us had done a live, much less done a live with more than one person as the host. And like, so when I got on today, so we can start this one, I'm sitting here on a cruise ship and I'm like, I don't have enough internet for my laptop. I have my phone stand though. So my phone is on the stand with the light on it. I'm like, all right, that works. So let's see if we can get everything else to work. But isn't that the theme of today? Rolling with the chaos. So hello, Damien. I don't know if you're still watching, but say hey, because we could actually see the comments because we're just on Facebook and not on Zoom streaming to Facebook.
I see the comments, but I'm going to look and see if I can see it on my other phone now.
Hmm.
Maybe I can see it as a guest looking at it,
Yeah. So
Let me just
if you don't know me, I'm Lindsay Baldessano, and I'm from Super Secret Powers Coaching, where I help intuitive women get in touch with their intuition so that they can feel powerful, empowered, and all that magical goodness and get their life going and their mojo back. And this is my friend Andrea. Actually, I don't know if everybody sees me on top or if only I see me on top.
you're
But
not talking when I'm watching. I'm still, wait a minute. I'm trying to figure out. I had you on the other phone. I'll see what you look like over there. We got on the bottom, top as far as I can see it. I don't know why it's not loading on me. That's weird. I hope we're live. We're live. That's so weird. Just buffering. You gotta go with the flow.
yeah, yeah, okay. It could be a serious. Well, it is a retrograde week. It's just not Mercury
No,
retrograde.
I
The end of this week, Pluto
I
is
checked
going.
to see if it was, because I thought it was definitely a Mercury retrograde kind of week, and I'm like, oh my god, it's not. That's what, like
No,
October?
not Mercury, but at the end over the weekend, Pluto is going retrograde,
That's probably
and
why.
then next week we have Saturn going retrograde. So yay, summer grade season. To not make that up. That's just old lady brain. It's like Gatorade, right? our coven friends, they always say like Mercury is a microwave, and it takes me a minute to figure out what they mean.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what that means.
I don't know. Now I have a picture of you on the other phone, but you're frozen and it's still buffering, so I have no idea. Hopefully everybody else can see this.
I know, I know. And amazingly, I'm seeing everything beautifully on a cruise ship sitting in Nassau. So,
Go figure.
but I did buy the streaming package too, just because I was just like, I know I want to go live and I don't want to have to muss and fuss and all that kind of stuff. So what chaos have you been dealing with?
Oh, things from the past popping back up. The haunchman. You think your divorce is totally over for a year now, and then it calls you and tells you that it might not be so completely, and he's back to court for me. Like, really? It just when you think all your children are gone and everything is just back to status quo, and you moved on and you're healing nicely, and things are like going your way, you get that call. But I think it was just like a mistake in documentation, stuff like that. I don't think it was anything major, but it's that feeling that, it's like, oh my God. It's like you feel it all over again. It's like, I don't think you ever heal from some traumas, because as much as you heal and you look at your shadow self, I've always been that kind of person that deals with it head on, but it still back up on you. And I don't think it's ever truly gone, if you know what I mean. It's like one of those things that no matter how much you think you're healing, there's always something that, and I think those little tests are there for a reason. That you handle things better than you did before, and that you come a long way, baby, kind of thing. And that's how I take it. It's like no, we're just sharing that because we want to see how far you've come and celebrate you. See, you handled that well.
Well, yeah, and it's funny. One of the things that really helped me piece a lot of life shit apart was when it hits you like the second or the third time around, and you get that, oh my God, I'm right back to where I was. Oh my God, and I'm like, I feel it in my system, and then I'm like, but that was like 2 years ago. Was I feeling all that all the time 2 years ago? Like, no wonder why I was so
Oh,
messed up at that time.
you're so much stronger than you know you are, because you got through it the first time, and then it comes back to haunt you a couple more times before it's okay. You can release it now. It's like it's not that bad anymore. And when it comes back, you're armed with better coping skills and rationale that you have to handle the same way.
And just even time and distance, and just just getting that time and distance from that immediate shock and being in that energy and carrying it around with you. Like it really kind of showed me, because I really have like a body sense of at least movement. For me, like there's always this kinetic portion to what I'm experiencing. So it's like when I'm experiencing it, like it'll be like, oh, that feeling in my heart. Oh my God. Like I remember that. Oh, that's awful. Boy, I'm glad that's not here anymore.
I notice those I don't want to feel anymore. I'm like, why are you putting yourself through this again, Andrea? You don't like, this is the yucky feeling that you try to avoid. So let's find out why the hell it came back again, and what we're gonna do. Tell it to go to hell for good.
Yeah.
It's like you have
really.
like you go in like a warrior, because you have to fight yourself all the time. It's like you don't have that maintenance with how you deal with your own thoughts. Nothing else in the world will make sense. And those little tests come back to show you how strong you really are, and that you move forward with more ease. Than you.
Well, yeah.
It might never be perfect, but
yeah. I mean, I certainly don't. I don't like to approach it from the I have to battle myself thing, because, especially with the way I rolled into finding my boundaries and really coming into center, it was like if nobody was going to stand for me, I had to learn to stand for myself. And to do that, I had to learn to do what I needed on the everyday, on the every half day. So like then maybe a couple times a day, depending on the day. To really come into life and see where it is and see how I could be in willingness to experience my life and to be present with whatever choices I had to make in that time and day. So it ended up being something that was a lot more supportive. And I wasn't like battling me. I was just like, all right, well, brain, I hear what you're telling me. I understand things could go that way, but let's look at it logically, because there's only so much I can do in this 5 seconds. There's only so much I can do in this 6 hours. So, like, I'm done worrying about what's going to happen 18 hours from now, because you know what? I'm exhausted.
Or hard on ourselves.
Too tired.
I don't think things life have to be half as bad as they turn out to be for us, but make it worse because we're so hard on ourselves. We think we have to be so perfect in the way we do things. We have to, well, that's just the way we're programmed to work. That's the way society does. Maybe our parents and teachers, everybody is kind of programmed us to you need to think this way, you need to do it this way, and if it doesn't go that way, it's you, like, kind of feeling like once you
And
get,
like everybody believes all that is so real.
I know,
And like, but it's not.
I
It's just the phantoms in your brain. Because my mom totally believed it. And she would over plan, like 15 iterations of, how we're going to do dinner on a cruise ship just in case something went wrong.
like I had to have lists my traveling plans and everything, and now it kind of like I still have a little bit of a list. I like to have a little itinerary when I go away, but I'm like, oh, we didn't do this, it rained or whatever, we're tired, we didn't watch yesterday, that today, it's like I let it go a little bit easier than I used to. It's not like I have to be in control of everything, you know and it's so much more peaceful to let it go like that, because having those expectations so high all the time really does weigh you down. It wears you out, and your confidence level and everything suffers, and you really aren't productive at all, because
No.
you're kind of in that rut, like my other phone's buffering yet. That's the way when
And I find it makes people very miserable to carry all those expectations around, and half the time I see, it's really just like their shadow. Hi Jessica, hi Elena. Like, because they're in this place where they're so afraid to be seen as, like, I don't know, maybe less than perfect, or seeing their family dynamics are weird, like on the cruise, because you see people traveling together in weird situations sometimes. But to carry that around with you, though, and then bring that on vacation, like, it's just really interesting. And the comedian was actually the one who got me thinking about it last night. He was good, but he was talking about how, like, people have this idea that they're in this 2,000 square foot home back in Jersey, and they're like barely see each other, and they're like, hey, it's a great idea, let's go on a cruise. And then let's go on a cruise, but we don't want to spend a lot of money. So, not that I'm saying spend a lot of money, but let's get an inside cabin, and they're down to like 150 square feet or less. Do you know how much emotional baggage fits in an interior cabin? Just like, leave it at home. Leave it at home. Like, I like just being on the ship where you just be like, all right, let's see what the day brings. Let's see who I get to talk to today. See what kind of laughs I get.
you learn so much from people, just even in passing sometimes, because we feel things differently than a lot of people do. And I think that we connect people better that way. And you really, not only for what they're presenting on the outside you get, but you get a little bit of an insight on how they're really feeling, even though they're not the way they do the rest of the world. That's not an accurate. you.
You're only telling me half the story, but okay, let's go with that for now.
Right now, I think, or, it's like, oh man, what the hell happened to you last night? Like, it's like I feel bad for people because, it's like they don't even have to say anything, and know, but then you have to learn to let that go. You can't take that with you either.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
problem, that most empaths have, is that we take it all with them. And you learn to let go of it and not carry all of that extra baggage around. It really does lighten your load a lot.
Oh, and you're certainly allowed to be on vacation too.
Right.
On the last cruise back in April, there was a woman who was having extreme extreme pain, and it's like she didn't know how to make the dentures work for her because she had just gotten the dentures and her teeth extracted. And she's sitting there in the smoking area, like just crying at me. And I'm like, I told her the relevant information about how to deal with dentures because I'm past where she is with it, and it's all fine now. But really, she just wanted to pull on the empathy, sympathy stuff. And at some point, I just wished her well, and I just walked away. But then I left Rob there and my husband, and he was trying to be a good guy. And they're like holding hands, and he's petting her. I'm like,
Oh,
leave. I'm like, just leave. Wish her well, give her a blessing, make her feel loved, but you don't have to sit there and experience it because somebody else doesn't realize that they're
no.
not in their boundaries.
And if when you feed into that, then you're not really helping them at all. You think you
No.
are. Sometimes you have to let people do things on their own and figure it out themselves. It's okay to give advice, but then you have to just step back and let them do the rest because
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and even just pointing out that maybe they're, but by giving, like, giving them a blessing in some way, like just pointing out that maybe they're not in the right headspace, letting them realize that, like, may the next 6 months be this, beautiful journey to recover your smile, just kind of offering that shift in perspective because they're probably so stuck in their head that they're not really participating in the world like you are.
And it's, but you gave her good advice because you went through it. Sometimes
Yeah.
we validate knowing that it will get better because you're further along. Maybe again later, oh, that lady makes sense. But
Yeah.
that moment, she's too emotional to figure that out. But once you settle down,
Yeah. One of our dinner mates last night, um, she has, this is day 3 of the cruise. She has father issues. She's a 70-year-old Latino lady. So everything is, "I, mommy," and it's wonderful. And she has great energy. But she sees me and my father traveling together, and she's just like, "I am so envious." And she was telling me her whole life story last night at the dinner table. And my dad can't hear very well. So not only do I have to tell you, listen to you telling me your story, now I have to explain it to my dad into his hearing aids. Really, really, you didn't have to make this my business twice.
God. But that just goes to show, I think, and empaths, we get that a lot more because people feel so comfortable coming to good listeners. We have energy but they don't understand that they become energy suckers in the meantime. And, and it can get out of control. And, I don't feel guilty anymore for that walking away part because before oh, should I left them alone like that? Oh my God, maybe I wasn't enough, listen, I should have listened more or something. But I'm like, no, no. After so long, you have to move on. You can't, because then it's just looping around, and it's making their situation worse because they're still talking about it on that level. Like, sometimes
Well,
you just
yeah, if it's appropriate, I mean, you can kind of, leave them, but leave the door open for them to join you in a different
well, yeah.
way. Like,
I
all
mean, if
right,
you're suicidal or something, you don't want to leave somebody, of course. That you
yeah.
have to maybe seek other help for them, crisis, whatever. But if it's just a normal
Yeah.
kind of,
Well, yeah, no,
so
like in a very boundaried way, you don't want to leave the door open so like you're then stuck with them at their house for 2 hours, and then they don't want to go and do anything because they're talking to you, and you're like, oh, now we're stuck here. But like, all right, well, I'm gonna go for a walk, but would you want to come for a walk with me just for 20 minutes, and then I have to go, someplace else, like that boundary
right,
kind of. We can do this. We can share energy like that, but let's, do it in a more constructive way. Yeah.
and you learn
If we like them.
how to let go of it like that, because and not have so much guilt, because I used to stay there for hours somebody because I didn't feel like I should leave them. It's like, oh my God, they
Yeah.
need that. But then you don't want to enable them too much either, because then you can't be just a crutch. It's like you have to give them the 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 guidance, help themselves, and the way I
Yeah.
think of
If you, yeah.
I
If you're friends with
right,
them, it's just, if you're just an acquaintance with somebody, it's like I know a great counselor.
or
Here, let me give you their business card.
references online that might be useful or something, just to head them in the right direction,
Yeah.
because I mean
Yeah.
it's important to help. I can't not do something, but there comes a time when you have to be helpful for yourself, and you have to know your limitations. You have to know when it's time to just end that conversation and leave them with good references, good leads to research or whatever. Get them on their own track, because that's what we
Right.
want. As
Because
healers, we want to get them on their own path. We want them to be, glued to your path. That's path, not
well,
theirs.
you can't be somebody else's
Right.
life. Like, you can't make the decisions for them. You can't make their choices. Like, you can't even really necessarily handhold them through it unless they're already walking that way. If they're already partly through the door, like, okay, that's a
Right.
great time to cheerlead and whatnot. But but
Different.
you can't drag them to that door.
It just all depends. Every situation's different, and you have to judge for what it is when it comes up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so very selective and very specific when it comes to timing and where people are. I mean, it's amazing that any healing can be facilitated in just like a session kind of setting.
Yeah.
Just, because you really have to be ready for the work if you're going to expect those kind of results.
Right.
Um,
That's why we try to teach steps. It's like you don't have to be where we are all in one. That's why it's a journey you're taking. It's not, don't feel bad if you go backwards and then step forward again. That's how life goes. That's how you learn and grow. You learn from
yeah.
those mistakes. Mistakes are good things. And so
It's not even a mistake half the time. It's just like, hey, oh, okay.
yeah,
So that's what that was about. All right. Like, especially on this cruise, it's really like coming back to me in a sense that I really just view things more as an experience. I'm having and I'm choosing my experience. And to really just try and not be in judgment with any of it. Like, oh, the food is horrible. Oh, didn't like that mango thing. I'm not gonna like push the thing, the dish away and walk off. So you're like,
have have a choice how you want your reality to look like. So you don't like that, don't order it again. Get something else. You always have that question.
You could certainly ask them for something else. Yeah.
But you have to be willing to speak up. You have to be willing to stand your ground with boundaries, and you live the life you want to live, and not anybody around you interfere with that. It happens. It's like, oh, this bad about me over there, and oh, they don't like me over there, or into our heads, and then all of a sudden that becomes us. It's like, well, I guess I'll be at that because nobody else believes I will. Well, my philosophy is that I'm going to prove it to you that I can. You know what I mean? It's like, I know I can do it. I don't care what you say. And it's a long time to get there. Because I used to be that kind of person. Oh, well, if that's what you think, I guess that's it, kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, it's like one day I just says, no, it doesn't have to be that way. If I want to be a full-time house sitter, just because it's not a 9-to-5 job, why can't I be a house sitter? I know it's not your conventional job, but you know what? I'm successful at it. Love me and want me back again. So you can keep your opinion to yourself. You know what I mean? And that's the best thing that ever happened to me. I learned my value so much through the house stuff. The people, they say, "Oh, you don't charge enough," or they're referring me. I get people that, "Oh yeah, so and so referred me to you," and all, and it feels so good to know that I'm doing something good for others. But you can't, the naysayers, because it's holding you back. You're holding yourself back.
Well, I also find it interesting about what people can conceive, like where their ideas are about what's possible and what's not. I mean, when I was graduating from college, I really had no idea what I wanted to do, and I would just stick to the script of like, oh, I'd love to work in a museum, and it's not that I wouldn't. It's just that like I didn't really even know what that looked like or how it felt, and just doing this here and trying to come up with a launch and a membership and this online business thing and being a spiritual person, like none of that existed then. None of that existed then. The internet was like what, 10 years old? None of it existed. We are literally manifesting a whole new world, new opportunities all the time. And just because like you can't see it, 1 year, 5 years from now, it doesn't mean that with technology and with cultural changes and whatnot, like it won't just show up one day. Like bam, right on your radar. Look, there's a whole other life that you could have been, that you can now live.
Right. I never thought when I was married and living in a different state and everything, I would never have thought that ever. It never crossed my mind. I did it as a hobby, as friends, like you. I would just, oh, you're going on a cruise, you're going somewhere. Okay, I'll be over. And that's how it was. And I moved to New York and changed my address on the rover.com thing back then, and all of a sudden I got all these hits, and I'm like, and all it did was take a different area to make it boom. But then all the Pennsylvania came back too. When they figured out what I was doing and how, all the pictures came in on my little blog and everything, I started getting all the people that didn't even understand then coming in and understanding and wanting to be part of it and excited for me and everything. And I'm like, that is like so awesome. It builds you up so much when things finally start coming into place,
Yeah. And I think half the time it's having other people figure out what we're doing. that
And
clears the
then
way.
what we start
So
for,
it's almost like we have to just be clear enough
right?
to keep working on what we're working on so that it begins to make sense to somebody else.
Yeah.
And we bring that clarity forward with us, with our own energy workings and downloads and all that kind of stuff.
And when
Because like I'm
right,
just
the
amazed at how
universe gives it, the time is right. You can't have it too early. If we were doing this 5 years ago, it might not have worked at all because we weren't ready for us yet. Weren't ready for us
yeah,
to get together to it or anything, you know? And so we kept putting it off and we were learning and growing behind it instead. And now the universe says, yes, girls, you're ready, you know.
yeah.
You know,
I
kind of thing.
finally don't have teenage kids constantly doing weird things. Yes, I love you, Julie. But on that note, now I have no notes with me because I'm on a cruise. I took an itty bitty little tablet with me. This is like the first time I've not traveled with my whole binder so I can work on things. I've just been doing it on my phone. But please join Unleashed because it's going to be amazing and you get to talk to us for 5 days straight. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to have this kind of real talk about intuition and what it's like to live with intuition and beginning to really rise and embody that inner intuitive queen, you know, that person who's just so grounded and so real with their abilities that they can feel the flow and that vortex state and they can just manifest and enjoy life and get your energy back because it's not constantly being drained. But you know, practice is a lifelong journey. You're not going to get it in 5 days, but this is just the start.
But our goal is to help you feel secure enough with the process where you're going with it that you'll want to continue. And it's very relaxed. You don't have to worry about anything. You just come as yourself, bring her coffee, you know,
Yeah. And
t-shirts.
for you,
We're not getting all dressed up and put makeup on for it. We just want to chat with you. We want to be real. Like we're all in the same living room chatting together.
yeah, I'm a little bit more dressed up than usual because I'm walking around the ship and it was very humid out earlier when the storm rolled in. But geez, I lost my train of thought there for I'm usually in a
Very
t-shirt at
normal.
home. But,
Bringing our having a good time.
oh, but so that you can see what support and community really looks like and what kind of help support, you know, supportive leaders, but also a supportive community can bring, because this is one of those things that even if we all like experience our gifts in a different way or our abilities in a different way, because we do, because it's very unique and it's very specific to you how it works.
And it's
You'll be able to learn from each other.
right.
And, you know, but it really becomes fun once you can kind of get the sense of like, oh, I see her doing this and I see her doing that and I see him doing that thing. I wonder if I can do that thing. Like, let me talk to them. Like, I have to, you know, so we're going to have these times where we get on in the membership that we're launching, where we get on for new moon and full moon, and we get to be with each other's energy, and we get to, you know, do that kind of like group work where then we get to know each other and we can support each other and we can then create greater ripples of impact out into our lives as this cohesive, just beautiful community. So that's where we're heading toward, but it all starts with Unleashed, which starts on Monday. One of us will find a way to put a link in
I'll get to it right
in the comments, okay?
I got it. It'll be there right away.
Okay, thank you. But we hope to see you there. And do you have anything else you want to add, Andrea?
No, not really. We're just gonna have good old fashioned fun. this. We're not dressing up. We're not going to be that formal kind of person that intimidates you. It's going to be very free form and relaxed, and we want you to feel at home.
Yeah.
And have some fun, because we definitely have fun. You know, we get off on topic. You know. So.
Walking around. And so, just for staying on with us for so long, before we log off, let me show you Nassau. That was my balcony door. We're here with 3 other ships today, 2 Carnival ships. That's what you see there. Carnival Legend and the Carnival Sunshine. There's Royal Caribbean back of us. But that's the new port. That was just built. That little weird looking spacey thing. That's the new port.
Oh, you're breaking up.
Pirate. There's the Rum Runner cruise. But it's beautiful, it's humid. And now it's getting sticky out there. Because we had some good thunderstorms earlier today, so it's still all humid and wet and damp and sticky. Which is why I'm on the ship. Because I'm like, oh no, 45-year-old body does not like that humidity anymore. All right, everybody. Thanks for showing up. We're going to do this again on Friday afternoon. And thanks for watching. Brightest
Bye.
blessings.